Today on All Caps. A historic and painful first. Why Israel is reportedly skipping the March of the Living in Poland this year. Plus, we expose the massive Gen Z disconnect from the beaches of spring break to the digital battlefield. How much does the next generation really understand about the world? After, we set the record straight, debunking the myths of Moroccan aliyah and taking on Tucker Carlson's latest claims about Israel's global agenda. And finally, the streets of the future. We discuss the Israeli tech that could eliminate red lights forever, with a high-stakes twist only the Mossad could pull off. And joining us at the table is Peter Paltchik, an Olympic medalist who shares on the strength of the Israeli spirit and the shadow cast by the Iranian regime. It all starts right now.
Welcome back to All Caps. It's great to have you with us for another round. Ladies, it's been a very tense week, but I want to dive in immediately to what caught our eyes this week. And I will be the first one. Okay. Because we finally won the building in New York. Remember I told you about this Iranian judgment that we had on behalf of terror victims. We won a lawsuit in the United States in the federal court. And we put a lien on this building in New York called 650 Fifth Avenue. Yes. Iran, that never shows up in court, sent lawyers, litigated this case for years, went all the way to the Supreme Court, and they lost. Ooh, the building was sold. Wow. Half of it owned by the Iranian regime. $318 million went to the hands of the terror victims.
Wow.
Wow. That's such a great
So what's happening to the building? They're going to sell it?
It's sold. It's sold.
Wow.
Amazing. Wow. Showing you that this tactic of going after Iranian assets can really work. And I call all the countries everywhere, strip Iran from its immunity. Let's go after the regime's assets and collapse it this way.
I call you, Nitzana, to do the campaign. See, I'm not joking. This is a real important campaign to tell all the people who have influence across the West to start and targeting these assets of the Iranian regimes and other terrorist organizations. And it's
a good idea.
It was your lawsuit, right?
Yeah.
You're the one who sued them. Wow.
Yeah.
We're so
a lot
proud
of
you.
victims from September 11, victims of the Beirut attack, if you remember the Marines in 1983. Every American that were killed by the Iranian regime filed a lawsuit, and now they're receiving compensation. It's the closure and justice to the terror victims.
wow.
Truly.
That's amazing. What an accomplishment.
And speaking of New York.
Yeah. I mean, recently, a middle school in Brooklyn blocked a Holocaust survivor from speaking. I think his name is Sammy Stingman. They thought it's not interesting to speak about the Holocaust, but instead he pushed an illustration of Zoran Mamdani's wife.
Wow.
In case anyone missed. Did you guys miss the homophobic, racist?
Oh, I sure did not.
Yeah, she liked the comments.
Yeah.
And,
So for anyone who missed, she had a bunch of comments in the past. Racist against black, homophobic, and of
she
course...
Celebrating Palestinian suicide bombers.
And silent in the media. Cancel culture is not happening anymore. I think this is a crack. I think people noticed it, but the silence is just it's deafening. It's unbelievable. Yeah. What a double standard.
And on the note of the Holocaust, something really big happened this week. Israel announced that they will not be attending March of the Living this year. And if you don't know what March of the Living is, it's an annual march that happens right on the day of Holocaust Remembrance Day, or as we say in Hebrew, Yom HaShoah. And we march through the concentration camp of Auschwitz-Birkenau in Poland. And I actually go every year, so it doesn't seem like I'll be going this year. But what makes the march so special is that we go with Holocaust survivors. So it's incredibly disappointing, first of all, because of the security situation. You know, a lot of these survivors, they're 80 to 100 years old. So getting these survivors all the way to Poland right now in this situation, it's just not a great idea.
Wow.
So it's incredibly disappointing because, first of all, we already defeated an enemy that tried to kill us over 80 years ago, and we're still dealing with a new enemy who is trying to kill us now.
But we are in a different situation.
But on a
right
different
now.
note.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
You know, sometimes I feel like I'm playing the victim and I'm saying, oh, they did this to us. They're blocking a Holocaust survivor. But then I tell myself, and I'd like to tell other people, it's as hard as it is to say, we have to learn from the dedication of Islamists, seriously. Their dedication to go to every school in the West and make sure they block any kind of Jewish history and rewrite history and push their pro-Palestinian propaganda. We as Jews have to take time off of all the beautiful and wonderful things we do and put it in our calendar to work towards that, to go to organizations, to either donate time or money. I think this needs to be part of our system, part of our schedule. This is a time of war, not only in Israel, it's a time of war on the Jewish people. And everybody has to chip in. That's it.
Yeah, I agree with you, Sarai. But on the different notes, I'm going to talk about what's my catch my eyes this week. Did you guys saw the 19th trend? How will you look like in the 19th?
Yeah.
So take a look on my picture. Okay, this is me on the 90s with my mom. Yes. All I cared this time was when is gonna be my next meal and and other things. But I want to show you how Trump and Bibi would look like on their 90s. Okay, as you see, he have a lot of hair, right? Brown hair.
No wrinkles.
He's such a good-looking guy, right?
Yeah, he was.
This time he was building his empire, Trump empire, and building a lot of buildings. And Bibi,
Also,
he also look alike. He didn't age too much, and he was building his political career. And I think they never thought that one day in 2026 they're gonna collaborate together to fight against the Iranian regime. And I think they do.
I think Trump knew he
You
would be
think
president.
so?
Yeah, I saw
No, I
interviews
saw a video. I know what you're talking about, but it was not in the 90s. It was like
after in the 2000s.
Yes, but yes, maybe Trump was playing his political career years before.
Obviously.
And we was laughing about him saying that he's gonna be one day president of United States, but it's happening. When he says something, we need to believe him, and we need to listen.
So much for this perspective. Let's move on to our main subject. Our main topic is Gen Z and the growing disconnect on social media. We're seeing a generation flooded with anti-Israel narrative, but how much do they actually know? Take a look at this.
What have you heard that Donald Trump has been doing recently?
Gulf of America. That's the last thing I kept up with.
We're going to war with Iraq. That's been crazy.
What do you do in Colombia? You got Maduro out? I don't with Trump, but that done.
He's like trying to sue those people for making jokes about him.
600 times!
You must be happy.
I'm very happy.
The Ayatollah's dead.
I'm so. What? Who? What? What is that?
Who the is Ayatollah?
I have never heard that word in my life.
Lewis, what's Ayatollah?
I haven't heard. I found out about Chuck Norris yesterday. That was more devastating to me.
He was the supreme leader of Iran.
He's dead?
We killed him.
Oh, you did? You killed him?
Johnny. Whoa!
If you were in charge, how would you take on Iran?
Yeah, all my girls and we would all start putting belts on them.
We get a bunch of girls in bikinis, we make them run across the battlefield. All the guys are distracted, we all run in.
Look at him in his eyes, I guess. Flirt with him.
I'd blow him up.
I don't know enough about it, but I would probably wipe it out.
Drop a bomb, baby. Bomb the out of him.
I would bomb the out of him.
Yes.
It's actually a good idea, the bikini, right?
Yes.
Look, obviously they're not all sober, but at least they're not at a Hamas encampment on their local campus. That's what I have to say.
But you see, we give speeches about anti-Semitism and look at the young
They don't know if history
understand.
and what's going on in their country and what,
Exactly.
what
What do
they
you
are fighting
expect?
for. Yeah.
Exactly.
They are completely ignorant. And I think this is the problem. The problem of Gen Z is that they have no knowledge. You know, a poll that they did in the United States short time ago showed that 63% of Gen Z youth do not know how many people were killed in the Holocaust. 6 million was a figure that they couldn't even imagine. Or 43% could not even mention one concentration camp during the Holocaust. So if this is like a major part of the history, they know nothing about the relevant issues.
But they don't have schools.
They have schools, but
So
but
they don't teach history.
I have to tell you something. They do, and this is the point of what I was saying before. Whatever they're studying is whoever is pushing their agenda. If we, as Jews, are going to push the Holocaust again, how we pushed it a while back, they'll know more about the Holocaust. It's who's pushing the agenda in the education.
But it's also what's happening outside of the classroom that's affecting my generation. And I will say I'm a representative Gen Z, so I want to apologize on behalf of my generation. But, you know, for 60 years, consistently, studies showed that younger Americans were less anti-Semitic than older generations in America until now. So my generation now...
What happened?
What's happened? So my generation is actually considered... They hold more anti-Semitic views than our grandparents' generation. So what's happened? I believe it's the information we consume and how we consume it. In 2020, only 9% of Gen Zers or young American voters were consuming their news from TikTok, getting their daily news from TikTok. Today, that number is 43%. And how can you explain a 3,000-year-old conflict in 60 seconds? You can't. And that's taken a toll on my generation.
Did you study in the Jewish school?
No, I didn't. But
did you study about the Holocaust and
my
what's going on in the world?
We learned a lot about it. I will say I'm from the South, so it's a very different, it can vary state by state. Every state you go to, the curriculum varies. Where I lived, the Holocaust was very much something that we learned about and taught. And so it makes me wonder, what are teachers doing today? Are they taking education into their own hand? Are they intentionally excluding these chapters about the Holocaust these days?
Don't forget that in the last show we talked about the Iranian families and
teaching in American
in
universities now, and they've infiltrated.
Maybe they speak about Islam, not about Judaism and Holocaust.
With all the respect so quickly. I graduated 10 years ago. That's a long time. A lot has changed in 10 years.
Of course. With all the respect to TikTok, which I do have a lot of respect. I mean, TikTok is really ruining the youth, and thank God it's now going to be owned by a Jewish man. But what I'm saying is that people still spend a lot of time in school. The hours people spend in schools are I don't know how many, 6, 7, 8. You know, it's pretty long, and it's enough time to radicalize the children. When the war started, I realized that people's attention span is so short. I realized that long explanations, as good as they are, they reach older crowds. So I decided I'll go and do what I do in general. I'm an actress. I did a lot of comedies, especially on theater. And I decided I'll bring the humor into this. Okay,
Humor is the way to our heart. Humor and memes.
Yeah.
Can you show us one example?
Yeah, let's watch something.
40,000 people were killed in Gaza. Children, women. I'm watching devastating videos on TikTok. I know exactly what's going on.
I mean, maybe 40,000 people died in Iran, on the other side of the world. In conflict we don't know much about. Saw some videos, but we don't really know what is happening.
Why does nobody care? This is America. This is our responsibility to stop this.
We're in America. This is not our responsibility.
Where is your humanity?
He just wants to get the oil.
Where is your compassion?
It's all about the Epstein files.
It's all about the Jews.
It's all about the Jews.
Oh my God.
It really is all about the Jews. Are we the main character?
That's the pink collar.
It's all about the Jews. I mean, this way you're getting to younger crowd. That's how I feel. And it's also healing. I feel like comedy is healing my soul in this terrible time since October 7th. And I now understand why we have so many Jewish comedians. We've been through so much. And comedy is really a savior.
Yeah, I agree with you, Sarah. We need to focus on personal stories when we tell about Israel, doing advocate for Israel during the war. My girl is the most beautiful girl in the kindergarten. She has the most beautiful eyes and the most beautiful brain in the kindergarten. This is a sweet nostalgic song that every Israeli mother sings to her young daughter. Me, 13-year-old Noya. Her mother, just like many Israeli mothers, used to sing this song to her. Noya, who was autistic, was kidnapped and killed by Hamas. She, along with 1,000 others, boys and girls, were killed by Hamas terrorists. I think people in this generation, they consume their education from social media, and they still imagine Jewish as a propaganda of cartoons with the big nose, the one who controlling the world, and I think we need to start to focus on personal story, because when I go abroad, you know, people are asking me, oh my God, you are a black Jew? There is a black Jews in Israel? And they are shocked by that. And it's really, really crazy, because when I'm living here, I live in one building, in first floor we are Russians and like Yemens and everybody living together. We are a mix of cultures in this country. We have a lot of people coming all over the world. We say kibbutz galuyot in Hebrew, and people don't know that. And I think we have to start to focus on personal stories and show the words what beautiful people are living here with different stories. So
because people don't remember facts and statistics, they remember stories and emotions.
But since the barista incident, I have to say that we have to try everything.
Yeah.
We have to try personal stories, humor, anything, because you just never know. This 1-second barista made such headlines, and people are like, we love Israel. So you just have to try everything you can.
Well, I would agree, but unfortunately, the algorithm on TikTok, Instagram just promote hate and violence. So this is why all these anti-Israel and anti-war actions take place and spread out. And also Gen Z think that the Jews are privileged, that they are the oppressors, they don't see it as a minority, and their heart goes out to the Palestinians, to the Iranians, to everybody who want to bash the Jews. So positive propaganda is good, but also negative. Let's go negative on them as well.
I'm the first one to tell you that we have to go on Qatar. That's all we have to do is go in Qatar. When they see Titi and they're like, oh my God, you are a black Jew, that's amazing. Okay, but on the other hand, Qatar has slaves that are black. Qatar is racist. So we don't only have to show Titi, look, we have black people in Israel and we're all equal. We have to show where it's not equal. We have to show that the people who push the propaganda against us are the racist ones.
Yes.
We have to, not only defending ourselves, we have to go on the offense. We have to start attacking.
Look, each of us are given a different algorithm. Basically, we are served what already reinforces our beliefs, so we fall further into what we already believe because it's being reinforced, whether it's right or wrong. But I do want to say that there are so many people out there that are not Jews, Christians, for example, who love the Holy Land. They love the Bible. And, you know, when we take this opportunity to talk about Israel in a biblical manner and talk about Jewish holidays, it gets people who are not already thinking like us or don't look like us and think like us, they're not Jewish, it brings them in. So I actually, one video I created that was really touching a lot of Christians was talking about the importance of Purim, the story of Esther, which is also a story that the Christians believe in, and it touches their heart, and it's a way to bring people that are different than us into our thinking.
The fact that this war with Iran is happening during the week of the Jewish holiday of Purim is no coincidence. Purim is a holiday that comes from the book of Esther and takes place in ancient Persia, which corresponds to much of modern-day Iran. In the story, an evil man named Haman, who was the enemy of the Jewish people, sought the destruction of the Jews through a government decree. However, scripture tells us that God, although not explicitly named, reversed that decree. So remember this. what wasn't meant for annihilation became deliverance. Yes, the Bible shows us a pattern. Persia was both a place of great threat and a place where God raised deliverers. Esther, Mordecai, and later Cyrus of Persia, who I believe US President Donald Trump represents, all played roles in God's purpose for deliverance. That deliverance right now is specifically for the people of Iran and Israel. This war with Iran is one of biblical proportions, and if you're not paying attention, you should be.
So I grew up, my father's Christian and my mother's Jewish, so I understand how important the Bible is to Christians and how when we bring the Bible into the story of Israel, which is so important, Christians listen immediately. And I think it's something that we really need to gear up as Jews, that we have a common shared base of Bible stories, and Christians want to hear about it.
Yeah, and that's also we have the same holidays, like in the Bible there is like Pesach, right? Rosh Hashanah.
Yeah.
And so they know these holidays. Yeah. They are like,
and we have this common ground, and we're like, oh, you celebrate this, we also celebrate this.
So how do you explain like the extreme right conservative people who are super Christians and they can go so anti-Semitic right now?
It's beyond me. And there's this very dangerous theology called replacement theology that basically says the church replaces Israel in the Bible. And that's probably another, I think that's another subject we can tackle for another day. But this woke right, which I love people are starting to call it the woke right. These people, they're falling into this extreme, as you know, anti-Semitism, where this false doctrine that the Jews killed Jesus. These are where these people stand. But the majority of Christians, the ones that I know, the ones I grew up with, they love Israel. They know the truth. They know the Bible and Judaism. We share so many values.
True. We'll take it to the next show, and we'll move on to the next segment. Our guest today knows exactly what's at stake when you represent your country on the world stage. He is an Olympic medalist and a true Israeli icon. Please welcome judo fighter Peter Paltchik. Peter, thank you so much for joining us today.
We
would like to speak about the spirit of sport, but also about how Iranian executing wrestlers in Iran.
Yeah, we saw you speaking about the Iranian wrestler that was executed recently.
An Iranian athlete was executed and he was only 19 years old. Not for something he did in sport, but because dark regime that fears courage, fears voices, and fears freedom. And where is the world while thousands are being killed under this regime? Where is the outrage? As a human, this is unbearable. It breaks my heart. It should break yours too. Silence is not an option anymore.
Wow. Yeah, it looks like it affected you personally, right?
It's a very sad story when you see something like that. You know, as a sportsman guy, in the sports world, politics should not be interfered, should not be involved. I always say that sports and Olympic sports, you know, wrestling is Olympic sports, of course, should be above everything. You know, the Olympic spirit should be unite people, should bring nations together. And I have a lot of good, very, very, very positive examples of how a lot of athletes that are not usually in political, the country they represent are not in political agreements with us, but we are very good friends. And I think the Iranian athletes are the best example of that because we are friends with them. A lot of examples like that. One time, one of my friends, an Iranian athlete, judo athlete, not a wrestler, I asked him to spar with me, to fight in a training camp, and he said, let's spar together, but without our gi. Like let's turn our gi to the other side. That will not have our names and the Israel-Iran symbols. Yeah, and we did it, and we fought when we sparred together as regular athletes. So can you imagine in a other very optimistic, utopic world, something like that can happen? Maybe I will go to Iran with the Israeli delegation. I wish that.
God willing.
But
did you know him personally?
Not him, but I always see the Iranian athletes. I always see their struggle, and I see the sadness in their eyes. They want to represent Iran on the global stage like I want to represent Israel on the global stage in the Olympic Games. And the Iranian regime are not willing for them to behave as a normal athletes.
Did you ever meet someone from a hostile country that was not nice, that was not into fighting with you? Like who, for example?
You see, I grew up with a lot of athletes since the age of 14, 15, on the global arena, training camps together, competitions, hundreds of them. And a lot of them, they represent Muslim countries, a lot of them, they are Muslims. And I'm always had a good and respectful relations with them. 1 month before the Olympic Games, it was the last competition in Kazakhstan. I'm approaching to one of those athletes. I will say which nation he represents soon. And I'm coming to shake his hand and to hug him because he's my friend. All of a sudden, he steps back. He said, I'm not shaking hands with terrorists.
Yeah, you are the terrorist.
Yes.
Wow.
And you know, I wasn't expecting that. I was shocked, and I didn't even react. I was ashamed that I couldn't even say nothing. He turned his way and went. And this guy is representing the Russian team.
The
Russian team.
Of all countries.
And yes.
So how is it exactly to be like an Olympic athlete and to work in the diplomacy in a time of a war?
Since October 7, even before that, but since October 7, I asked myself, what can I bring to this occasion? And I said I have a lot of followers all around the globe, a lot of them from Arab countries, Muslims, which I'm totally fine by. But by the way, my message was never about religion or nation. Yeah, as I told you, I'm friends with a lot of them. And I said, okay, this is the platform. I need to make advocacy for Israel. I collaborated with the Ministry of Foreign. A lot of countries took part of it, and we did a lot of contact, spreading millions of views. And I did one mistake, only one mistake. 2 months after the beginning of the war, I posted a picture someone in the artillery unit sent me, one of my best friends, and it was in the picture it was a missile signed by one of the soldiers, says Ippon to Hamas. Ippon is a knockout, the fight ends immediately. Who didn't want to make an Ippon, right, to Hamas? I was emotionally, I was very emotional by that picture, and I posted on every social media platform. And I added a message, if it wasn't clear already, from me to you with pleasure. From that moment, it started a small fire. I didn't even notice, on the global media arena. 2 months before the Olympic Games, I was nominated to be the Israeli flag bearer in the Paris Olympic Games for the entire delegation.
Yeah.
And
big dreams coming, right? Fulfilling. All of a sudden, this small fire was like boom, bombing on every social media, on every big Muslim organization tried to collect signs to ban me from participating in the Olympic Games.
Wow.
And a lot of hate messages, a lot of threats, and all of a sudden I gained a title. I was easily to give up on, the most threatened athlete in the Olympic Games. Can you imagine? Nothing like that can happen to none of the athletes representing France, America, Britain.
But you
only
end up
Israeli
winning
athletes.
this, right?
Yes, eventually I got a medal.
You got a medal.
Wow.
This is your answer.
What
this
a
is
victory,
this is not only my answer, by the way. It was our answer as an Israeli, as a country of winners. For me, it was in my mind on that day. Please, God, give me the strength, the bless to bring that piece of metal, to bring joy to our people.
And you did. You made everyone proud.
So yeah, you bring us a lot of proud, and I want to ask you. You, as you say, you travel the world. You meet a lot of athletes. You meet a lot of people. And what do you think the most misunderstood thing about Israel or Judaism?
I think in every country they get different type of news, different type of media, different type of information. So I'm not angry about the athletes who are willing to know something. When I confront someone, one of my colleagues, let's say, and I did, I immediately can see if someone are willing to listen and are willing to learn something, or otherwise he's blocking me and he says like, no, you're a terrorist, no, I don't want nothing with you anymore. And for me it was always important to do that sometimes on big scale on social media, but sometimes just in a cab in Uzbekistan, in Tashkent, when I'm driving in a taxi and all of a sudden the driver hearing my Hebrew and he pulled off the car and says, yeah, he pulling his arm brake and say, go out from my taxi, you're a country of terrorists, blah, blah, blah. And I put back the arm brake and I say, drive. Like, yes, and all of a sudden I'm with my broken Russian, I'm trying to explain and make advocacy for Israeli, inside this small taxi in Uzbekistan. So for me it was...
How did it end, that ride?
I didn't convince him, but...
But you got to wherever you wanted to go?
Well, and you mentioned you do like to do a lot of this advocacy online. What kind of responses do you get from people abroad?
Look, let's take America as an example. A lot of the Jewish community and the Israeli community there, they need it. They need this kind of hug, and I'm travel to the States a lot. It's with God bless, in 2 months this will be my 8th trip there to do lectures, to do
with Jenna,
with not only Jenna, all the organization. I work with everyone because I think everyone needs it. And Europe, of course, oh my God, what happens in Europe it's horrible, but America is next. You know what the mayor of New York City, Mamdani, is doing right now to the Jewish community. Yeah. It's crazy. And it's the small steps that nobody noticed that makes the big difference. I don't want to say it, but I will say it. It's the same as happened before the World War II.
Yeah, I say it all the time.
The same.
I say it all the time.
We see the history.
People are so blind, and I always ask, how could the Holocaust happen? They didn't have any signs. What is happening in England? Exactly. What is happening right now in New York? It's the beginning. If you don't stop it in time, a Holocaust could happen. Hopefully we'll stop it in time.
You being on the most global platform in the world, the Olympics, you are telling all Jews everywhere it's okay to be Jewish, and not only okay to be Jewish, but proud to be Jewish. And that means a lot to us, especially as I'm someone who came to Israel from abroad. I'm an American Jew. And so that means so much to us because we were a lot of times told, be careful what you say as a Jew.
Exactly. And I think that the more Jews will be afraid to be Jews outside, the more negative and more harassments and more threats they will get. Mm-hmm. We need to be proud and we need to represent ourselves in the most powerful way. And to learn judo.
I think we have an
you don't need your security.
Exactly.
You're your own security.
I see that in England, actually. Jews are starting to learn how to fight.
A funny video. Is that real?
No, it's real. It's real. It's not a parody. It looks like a parody. But if you look up Jews in England learning how to fight, you can see a club where they found the strength. And they're learning from Krav Maga to judo to anything you want, and they're starting to fight back.
I also heard about an organization that's called Beitar. What they do is that they go and organize protests in New York against the protester. Right. You know what?
Which organization you're talking about.
We're talking about,
But to this question, what's better, to know Krav Maga or judo?
I will answer differently. I think that it doesn't matter which sport you do, as long as it's something like protective, like judo, jiu-jitsu, Krav Maga, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter, because when you get stronger physically, you also get stronger mentally, and your soul is getting stronger. So everything is harmonically.
And your soul and your body are so connected.
Exactly. It's connected. You become
a warrior.
Jews needs to become more warrior like we used to be 2,000 years ago.
They need to Israeli
like the Maccabees, exactly.
Jews need to Israeli up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what
You
I
need to
feel.
have the
Exactly.
chutzpah and be strong and be proud. We have country, we have the idea.
We have nothing.
Don't
We
be
have nothing to
scared.
hide of. We have nothing to be afraid of. We just need to be.
We're the Maccabees.
Yeah.
We're the Maccabees.
Yes.
I want to take you back to the moment where you received the medal in the Olympic Games.
Oh my God.
After 20 years of training and watching and waiting for this moment, and you dedicated this medal for Oren Smadja that lost his son in Gaza.
You know, when Oren lost his son 1 and a half months before the Olympic Games, his world collapsed, and of course our world too. And I was very, very, very close to Oren. I'm still very, very close to Oren. He's like my second father. Has big influence on my life. So we all were devastated, and of course, whatever choice he would choose to do, we would, you know, hug that choice. And in my mind, I know Oren. I know he would want to come and to make that closure in the Olympic Games, and eventually he did. He found the strength.
Yeah. You know,
Crazy, insane power, mental power, and eventually at that day, I had a sign from God. Really, I'm very spiritual. I'm not religious, but I'm very spiritual. And through the whole day, I was talking with God and saying, "Please give me the strength to do whatever I need to do to end the day how we all want the day will end, and to whisper to Oren's ear what I want to whisper." Wow. And that happened.
Wow.
And when I approached after the referee pointed me as a winner, I approached Oren, and I couldn't have the strength to do the final steps, because I saw him, you know, crying with tears of joy, but also I have goosebumps.
Also, wow.
But also tears of sadness, and you know, when we collapsed on each other, that special hug we had, we were alone in the universe. Nothing was around us, you know. That was that moment that I knew that I gave him small, even, you know, the smallest joy and pride, and that was my duty.
I saw this video, by the way, and I started barking because I saw you guys hugging and crying. It was such a special moment, and I'm happy that you had the opportunity to give him this. And you have now a new routine, right?
Yes.
You have a new life. You are a dad of 3.
Yes.
3 under 3. 3 under 3. Oh my God.
It's like Forbes 30 under 30. I have 3.
Yes.
3 under 3.
Yeah. You're winning this.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. We know we have babies at the house.
Wow.
What do you like the most?
I'm full-time dad now because my wife, she was stuck in LA for 3 weeks. So everything on my, you know, all the lectures and all the business, everything on hold. I'm full-time dad. But I love it, you know.
You
I love
your new routine.
Yes, I love it. I'm waking up. I'm making them breakfast and training them. You know, bath and the wake up and the bedtime stories. I love it. I love it. I wish I could do more because I'm imagining how they're gonna grow up and how they're gonna be at the age of 10, how they're gonna be at the age of 20. So I have this vision with them. I grew up with my grandmother and grandfather. So my grandfather, he didn't let the life just, you know, just go away and the days pass. And he had a plan for each and every day, each and every week, every month, you know, and etc. So I try to be a little bit like my grandfather.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah,
And someone
to build a
that is
plan.
someone is such a man, a fighter, an Olympic champion, and is a full-time dad. Perfect dad. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Peter,
this is the best compliment. Thank you.
You left us speechless. It was emotional, inspirational. You are a hero. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for you guys. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.
Now we head back to the digital front lines for our anti-Semitic and fake news segment. Today, we're taking on two major falsehoods. The first one is a viral claim that Moroccan Jews were forced into aliyah.
When the state of Israel was created, the Israelis needed to bolster their numbers, so they wanted to recruit Jewish Moroccans. And the king of Morocco said, nope, you can't have our Jews.
He exactly said, I don't have Jews, I have Moroccans.
Oh, yeah. And then the world said, you can't trap them in there. And anyway, long story short, and there's also some kidnapping that takes place. So we decided we were going to go from synagogue to synagogue. One of the synagogues we went to in Casablanca, next door, there was a note attached to the apartment next door. And it says, I am the son or the grandson, I don't remember, of the last rabbi of the synagogue next door. And I want everybody to know there's still a Jewish Moroccan living here. I will never leave.
Come on. Oh, seriously.
What do you think about that?
There was no radical Islamism in the Middle East. There was no massacre in Iraq. And come on, my dad's family came from Iran. The stories sound like October 7th. This guy needs a serious conversation, seriously. Obviously, Moroccans loved their country. They loved their country. They had a great life. But the radical Islamism was life-threatening. So they were forced by the radical Islamists to move to Israel.
Well, and one thing they did get right was that the government of Morocco didn't want them to make aliyah, but not for the reasons they said, because they didn't believe in Zionism. They were anti-Zionist, and they were under pressure by the Arab League to stop Jews from making aliyah. So what did? They banned aliyah in the 1950s. So what did the Mossad do? They had to smuggle them out, not kidnap them as they accused. They had to smuggle them out. And this is just another attempt of alternative historians trying to rewrite history.
I think they say the same thing about the Ethiopian Jew. And they say that they bring us here that Israel will have a black people, they will be like diverse and all these stories. But they don't know that, I don't know if you guys saw the movie, The Red Sea Result Diving.
Everyone needs to watch
about
it.
the operation that the Mossad make to save Jews from Sudan. And we, as an Ethiopian Jew, we pray to be back to Jerusalem. And we have a holiday that's called Sigd. This holiday, we go every year to Jerusalem and we say thank you for being back home. And to say this, this kind of like this is just to delete our, our beliefs.
Of course, Jews lasted to come to Jerusalem. Zion was in their prayers all day long, 3 times a day. My parents, when they came from Iran, they didn't come because of the revolution. They came in the 1950s. Once they heard that the state of Israel is existing, they all rushed to make aliyah, to immigrate to Israel. So rest assured, nobody forced no Moroccans, no Persian, no Yemenite to come. Everybody wanted to come to Israel. But this is not the only lie, because Tucker Carlson's latest theory was about Israel's supposed plan to take over the Middle East.
Where is Israel in a few years from now?
If you look at the main beneficiary of this war, it is Israel, because Israel has an ambition called the Greater Israel Project. They believe their God, Yahweh, promised to their ancestor Abraham all the land from the Nile in Egypt to Euphrates. According to game theory, the main constraint to Israel achieving the Greater Israel Project is actually not Iran, but America, because America guarantees the military safety of the GCC. And so it needs to figure out how to remove America from the equation. This war has shown the limitations of American power. The American people do not want this war. And so it's very possible that America is forced to withdraw from the Middle East, which allows Israel to remake the Middle East in its own image.
He's taking a Chinese guy, nobody knows who he is, unknown, calls him professor, and the guy is saying stupid things one after another. Israel wants to take over the Middle East. How exactly we're going to do it? how exactly we're going to overcome the objection of the United States, military, strategically, the one that we count on for our safety?
How does it even align with the fact that every time we make peace, we give land?
We give land away.
Like, how does that align with the facts? I mean, we can have Gaza, we can live in Gaza. Like, practically, we have the power to live in Gaza, and we don't. Practically, we have the power to live in the Sinai Desert. There's no army there.
And we gave it up both times.
We gave it back. It doesn't align with reality. And Tucker is just, I think he's just missing, theories. He's just running out of conspiracy theaters.
I think in 73, we conquered a lot of like Sinai and, as you say, a lot of places in this area. And if we want to hold and control and be like one big country and empire in the Middle East, why we give our lands, like the lands that we conquer already?
Yeah. So I think that China is actually the one with imperialistic ideology. They're threatening to take over Taiwan. They are helping Iran in the course of the war. They fund Iran. They give them their missiles. They advocate for Iran. So, guys, it's not really Israel. It's Russia that wants to take over Ukraine. It's China. Israel has no imperialistic desires, ideology, and Tucker should go and do some homework.
We can sue him, like, can we do something about this guy?
We have hands on the pulse. Once he makes the first mistake, we'll be the first one to sue him.
Yeah, are you monitoring everything he says?
Monitoring everything he says.
Okay.
So we need only when, you explained to us that only when there's victims we can sue because of freedom of speech. So we have to wait until...
So his days are short. He will say something.
Let's end on a high note with a bit of Israeli pride. Did you ever stand pointlessly in a red light?
Oh my God.
Definitely.
So there is an Israeli technology that is going to be a game changer that will make this at the past. No longer need to wait without point in a red light.
Wow.
I don't know, I'm scared of it.
I have to say...
Because, like, Israeli drivers are, like, very...
Impatient,
like, they drive fast, and I don't know.
But they're going to calculate the traffic, right?
Obviously.
Yeah, they're going to calculate the traffic.
It's going to use AI.
Yeah, for example, where I live, there's not a lot of people, but there are huge roads, and we're just sitting there for nothing.
Needlessly.
Yeah, and people are even driving on red lights sometimes because you don't see a car from miles away.
Yeah.
And so this system will actually calculate the traffic and not let you sit there. It would be
I don't know.
Look,
As I know the Israeli people, they will say...
I don't know about this technology.
Okay, they don't ask me, but...
Can I thank Waze? Can I thank Waze for having a new feature that shows you when there's an alarm where you can go to a shelter.
A shelter, yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, thank you so much, Waze.
I try it, and it's really, really good.
It's really working.
Oh,
when you have
it's working.
When you have a warning in Israel before the alarms, you have a few minutes. Then you, while you're driving, you can add the feature that you're driving, and there's an alarm. And it's going to tell you to which shelter to go, how far is the shelter, just like a gas station.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful feature that came up so quickly.
Thank you, Waze.
In a few days. Thank you, Waze. Thank you.
Look, only Israelis, I'll have to say, would create an invention that would stop you having to wait. I've never met more impatient people in my life, but it's a brilliant invention, and it's going to change the world.
But you know where else they use this technology? Looking through red lights and cameras? In Tehran.
True.
They took over the red lights and the cameras in Tehran, and they followed the cars and the leaders, and knowing exactly by face recognition where it was Khamenei and the rest of the leaders of Iran. And at that day, in the beginning of the war, February 28th, they realized everybody's going to this meeting in this building, and then they just shoot a missile.
Oh my God.
It's kind of like the pagers, the stoplights, what's next?
Israel, an innovating country, startup nation. Ladies, thank you very much for this energy and for another one great show.
Thank you.
And thank you, our viewers, for watching All Caps. We'll see you right back here for the next one. Stay safe.